catch your eye like a big pizza.
This is different.
Will die. And if you don't have an abortion, you will die.
Those boys who are wearing their hair long are saying no to the mask industry.
The entirety of women's voting inside of the United States has been a complete unmitigated disaster. Unmitigated disaster which has led us to progressive policies, societal decay, a society which cannot reproduce itself, literally, can't even reproduce itself.
If it would be possible to make the men less aggressive, less competitive, less sure of themselves, that would be certainly something good. And
Jesus stood up here before us this afternoon and said, listen, I got two questions for you. Question number one, who do people say that I am? We'd have to tell him.
We'd have to tell him. We'd have to tell him, you know, Jesus, most people just want to reduce you to a nice guy.
The push for men to be more emotional, more sensitive, more soft on the ladies who want to ice pick their kids at the behest of their emotions is what has gotten us to this point. The fact that every TV show and movie over the last however many years has had the guys act like complete oafs.
Everyone is waiting for you. Oh, look at this. Look, this goes on after the pants, Einstein. Here, do you realize that it is a...
They say the husband will steal your paper, stalk your pets, and eat your garbage.
Hey, half a potato is not garbage.
Has ripped away our ability to actually apply the laws of logic to our life in a comfortable way. Even I, someone who has completely hammered myself on this issue and on the issue of feminism as a whole, has trouble sometimes with getting through the prattle that is complete nonsense because of the way that I was raised and that many other men were raised. Well, I'm just going to go over the laws of logic and demonstrate to you why they do not include, and literally show you that they do not include, the nuance of emotion. Starting with the law of identity. Everything must have an identity. Everything. My door is a closed door right now. It's not an open door, it's a closed door. It's true within itself. Very simple.
Very circular.
Law of non-contradiction. Statement cannot be true and false simultaneously, meaning my door is closed, that is true. The fact that my door is closed,
it's a fact.
It can't be false and true at the same time. Simple. Circular. The laws of logic keep it simple. It's beautiful. Law of excluded middle. A statement is either true or false. There is no in between. So like my door can't be kind of true that it's closed and kind of false. It can't be kind of open and kind of closed. It's either open or closed. Simple. Law of sufficient reason. Everything must have a cause. So my door is closed because I closed it. If I opened my door, it would be open because I opened it. There's no emotion in this at all. It doesn't say like, well, because I feel like, no, there's no I feel like. I feel like, it doesn't exist. I feel like it happened. No, it doesn't exist, it's not here. So you can take feelings, we'll spell it out for everyone. If I can write with my pen. Get rid of it.
I ran into a friend of yours outside.
Now that we've demonstrated that the laws of logic have no emotion included in them, there's no I feel whatever, we can go ahead and move on to the more abortion-focused segment of our conversation. I have my beautiful drawing of a line as well as all this stuff that I've written. Now, when does life begin, Chase? Well, I'm going to say it for like the 1000th time. It begins at fertilization. Life begins at fertilization. It doesn't begin we have the gestational period. There's no point, like all these little black marks do not signify life beginning. There's no. Starts here, green life, red, not life. Okay, it doesn't begin there. It begins here. This is a life. Birth is a living. Don't get me wrong. Don't lose me here. But life begins at fertilization. Very simple. Biologists agree with me. It's an objective thing. Sperm meets egg, baby, bada bing, bada boom. Now, life begins at fertilization. That is the only argument you need. That's it. That is it. Obviously, you're going to think that you need more because of feelings, because of how you feel, man. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to all the retarded stuff. Pro-abortionists and pro-choicers, whatever you wanna call them, whatever they say. Because what they say is gay, and it's bad, and it's stupid, and their arguments are dumb. Because it's all feelings. It's the ebb and flow of emotion that flows in a different direction every time. So let's move on, shall we, to the terrible pro-abortion arguments that I've heard a lot of. And yeah, let's begin. So, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have a baby, even though I already demonstrated I'm ready by having sex and got pregnant. Now the baby's inside me, and I really don't want to have to give birth to it, even though it already exists, because I want lunch with Stacy on Sundays, and I want to go to the frat party on Saturday nights, and I want to have fun, you know, I want to have fun because I feel like I want to have fun because I feel like it. Baby already exists, bad argument, life begun, easy to just demolish that. I don't care if you're not ready. I don't care. There's no justification that you can make that you're not ready because you already demonstrated you're ready. You had sex for like probably the 1000th time in your life and you got preggo because you were fluting around with Chad. The next one, it's my body. It's my body. It's not your body. Separate DNA, RNA profile, different genetics. Genetics of both you, separate DNA, RNA profile. My apologies. As the genetics of both parents. It's a different person. If I were to test its blood and your blood, guess what? Different people. Holy schmoly, that's crazy.
Holy schmoly!
That's crazy, Stacy. That's crazy. I can't believe it. It's not my body. Can't get the abortion. No, you can't get the abortion. You can't. And even if you were to sit there and try to make a viability argument from the stance of law, guess what, silly goose, you silly goose poop, you goober. If that baby was born, okay, you would be legally tied to it. As in, you would not be able to neglect your kid, not be able to abuse your child, and your resources, unless you put the baby up for adoption. There's 36 couples to every one newborn, by the way. That'll be important later. You have to take care of your child or else you will be arrested. So, unless you're okay with people abusing their kids and neglecting them and basically treating them like they're dirty rags, it's a bad argument. You goofball. Inconsistency at its finest. Get wrecked, nerd. You're a man, you're a man, you're a man, you're mansplaining again. Oh my gosh, you're such a misogynist. The patriarchy is oppressing women. One, the patriarchy is not oppressing women, it benefits women. Different topic. Two, you're a man doesn't make sense because men aren't affected by abortion. Men aren't affected by abortion. Where do men come from, bruh? They come from the balls, and then they come from the womb, and then they come out here. Men were babies. Men are affected by abortion. They're killed by abortion, just like women are. So yes, I can say something about it. You would be okay with a bunch of men siding with you and holding someone else's body to a legal standard if they're doing something bad to you. But if a man comes along and is consistent with his line of thought and wants to say, hey, you cannot do that to this body, it is wrong, you want to prattle on and act stupid with another bad argument. Get wrecked, nerd. No brain, no heartbeat. Developmental discrimination is really what this boils down to, okay? But Chase, what about the guy that's brain dead? Well, the person that's brain dead is actually dead, right? Because they aren't sitting in a womb developing a brain or developing a heart or developing body parts as they grow. They aren't going through the natural process anymore. Why? Well, the thing that has already been developed was killed. It's gone. They either died on their deathbed, or they got hit in the head with a baseball bat, or they got ran over, or something crazy, insanely bad happened, and it's very tragic, and I wish their family the best in that hypothetical. But when it comes to those comparisons, you can't compare the two. Point to an adult that's bipedal walking around on the planet right now that's the same in their developmental processes as a baby that's in the womb. You can't. You cannot. Also, this ties right into can't feel pain, and consciousness. It ties into those because no brain, people won't even make the developmental argument. They'll say, well, they can't feel anything, or they're unconscious. Why can't I just kill them? Well, can you kill someone in a coma? No. You can't go into the hospital room and start doming people in comas and say, hey, dude, he wasn't conscious. He didn't feel the pain. She wasn't conscious. She didn't feel the pain. They were taking up resources, so I capped him. No, it's not a morally sound argument, you wiener, and you wouldn't be okay with it, most likely. And again, if you are okay with it, you're inconsistent, and you should probably be on a watch list. And can't feel pain obviously doesn't work. People are on, when it comes to heartbeats, people get hooked up to machines during bypass surgeries and things like that to get their heart worked on, to keep their blood pumping. They technically don't have a heartbeat, right? So with that line of logic, can you go kill them? When mid-surgery, can you just go and, take off old man Gramps' head because he's under anesthesia and has his heart artificially stopped? No, you can't. That person doesn't have a heartbeat though. The machine's pumping their blood. Goobers, bad argument. Abortion's greater than foster care. But since when is the opportunity to live worse than abortion, worse than someone getting killed? Even if I were to grant foster system being the worst case scenario out of all avenues you can take for adoption, and we're trying to prevent the well-being of the kid from being compromised, in what way, shape, or form is death taking their well-being into consideration? When you have eliminated any possibility of them coming out of a bad situation, let's say the woman did think that she ought to get an abortion, and she caved and didn't go with what her heart was telling her, and she made the right decision, and she actually put the kid in the foster system. Is that kid better off alive with an actual fighting chance in life? Or is it better off in a little waste bag in the receptacle at the hospital? Bad arguments. Also, like I said earlier, 36 couples to every one newborn. The one who adopt it. There's private organizations, private adoption agencies that are underused because abortion's available. We finish up the lightly melancholic arguments. We're gonna move on to the heavily melancholic. Very sad, very sticky situations, if you were to ask me. She was raped is one that I've heard multiple times at this point. And the best way I can argue it is this. A woman has an injustice done upon her via grape. Obviously, you know what grape is. Grape rhymes with. Exactly. She has an injustice done upon her by someone else. That man should face capital punishment, in my opinion. He should be arrested. He should be held accountable for his actions. When it comes to the woman, she must have the baby, and here's why. One, the baby is only related to this rapist by blood. You cannot justify the killing of this child because it has some involvement with the grape. No, the child is just a product of. The bad things already happened, right? Now, just like you would with a 12-year-old, that's my next situation, just like you would with a 12-year-old that gets pregnant at that age, you would surround them with love, support. There needs to be a communal effort to uplift them and make sure the child's taken care of. If you have to take an adoption route, 100% do it. If it is better for the well-being of the child and the mental health of the mother. However, I think the ideal situation would be to keep the child with the mother. I'm open to adoption, obviously, in that situation. But you cannot hold the baby responsible. It is incorrect. And it is wrong. And basically what happens with, if I were to go back to the grape situation, school shooters will have injustices done to them. And they'll shoot up a schoolyard full of kids. How can we sit and hold these school shooters accountable for killing innocent people that aren't involved with the injustice? Or the injustice obviously shouldn't even involve kids getting shot anyway, even the kids that did some sort of injustice, which is usually the injustice that happens, and I put quotes around it, is usually like bullying, name-calling, ostracizing the kids for being a little bit weird, does not justify these children being murdered. So how can you say that school shooters are evil, that they are terrible people for doing what they did, and then at the same time give a mother avenue to kill her own baby after she's been raped? It's inconsistent, doesn't make sense. 12-year-old hypothetical. So a 12-year-old girl gets pregnant, okay? She has to carry this baby to term. She has to hold on to the baby, give birth. And I'm gonna go ahead and add on to this argument. We actually have numbers on this, believe it or not. In the early 90s, we had roughly around 14,200 births plus the mothers were the ages of 10 to 14. Sorry, there are 10 million girls currently, and I'm applying these numbers to that population. Obviously, there may have been less, there may have been more. I have not looked into the exact number, but let's just apply this data to today's number. You would have roughly around 14.2 thousand births annually if that number applied today. Today, the actual numbers today show that we have 2,000, a little over 2,000 births per 1,000 girls between the ages of 10 to 14 that are actually carrying these babies to term and giving birth. And as rare as these pregnancies are, that rate is good enough for me to say that this 12-year-old young lady needs to, again, like the rape victim, be surrounded with love, care, support from her community, from her family. She needs counsel. She needs help from her church community. Again, adoption on the table. However, ideally, I think she should keep the child, and I think she should learn how to be a mother. Medically necessary. So medically necessary is one that is misunderstood routinely. There's not really a pregnancy that requires medical intervention of an abortion. Well, that would be labeled as medical intervention. I would call it murder, obviously. You don't need to murder a kid in order to save a mother's life. There are things like ectopic pregnancies. There's molar pregnancies. I can't remember the exact term.
Whoa, did we just time travel? Yes, we did. So basically what a molar pregnancy is, because I couldn't explain it on camera for some reason when I was shooting this, at least not well. Basically, out the gate, typically, fertilization and implantation, something happens that goes awry and the baby is miscarried. And what ends up happening with the tissue that is developing is basically you have a dead body in the womb, and what ends up happening with this tissue is it develops into cystic growths, tumors, and the baby with the dead body essentially has to be extracted, or else it will continue to develop cystic tumors and eventually cause complications and hurt the mother, make her infertile, kill her. Yeah, that's the explanation. All right, back to Chase from the past yammering on camera.
And then the ectopic is basically where implantation goes wrong, baby implants into the fallopian tube, and then the baby cannot develop properly. The baby ends up growing to a certain point, dying, and also taking the mother with it, or severely injuring the mother. But at the end of the day, the baby ends up dying. There are strives to get to a technological point to be able to reimplant that baby into the proper place. But as of right now, if there has been reimplantation, it's a very fringe amount of cases. It doesn't happen often. Next one, it kind of ties into this, and life of the mother. Even if the mother's life is threatened, I would say the mother should give her life for her child. I don't even entertain that argument. The reason I don't entertain that argument is because of this. Fathers routinely are held responsible to give their life for their family. The burglar breaks in, something like that. Dad has to go out and handle it. Risks his life for the safety of his children. Even if the mother feels her life is threatened by her pregnancy, it is morally sound for her to die for her child than for her to kill it to spare her own life. Just like a woman that gives birth, has a baby, is in the woods, being chased by a bear, has to hand the baby off to someone in a treehouse with a latch door. And it's either she throws the baby to the bear, climbs into the treehouse, or hands the baby off to the person in the treehouse, or puts the baby up into the treehouse and risks getting her legs ripped off and bleeding out and getting eaten alive by a bear. Obviously, I would say the latter is what she should do, what she ought to do.
Everett police confirm a 45-year-old father died protecting his son last night. Officers were called here just after 10 o'clock.
For some reason, we draw this line on when a woman's pregnant, and we say that she ought not to give her life for her baby because feelings, because she has a career she needs to focus on, or because her life is more important than the baby, or because brunch with Stacy, or whatever scenario you want to paint it as. It is inconsistent, it is wrong, and from even a secular worldview, someone who borrows the morality from other spaces, other religions, borrows morality from Christianity, it is inconsistent and it is wrong. And well, just as a bonus, the population crisis. We're overpopulated, kill them anyway. Well,
I'll let the numbers speak for themselves.